So, hey everyone. Uh Faye here. I know I'm not on camera today. I don't know what stock footage the people on Twitter have sent me, if they've sent me anything, but I did not feel like being on camera today. Uh I just have something to put out there, and it has to do with mental health stuff, and I just want to give a disclaimer that I'm very very mentally well at the moment. I have been for like the last couple of months. I've obviously had some slips and slides here and there, um, but generally speaking, I do think that I have improved over the whole of the last year and slightly prior to that. And I just wanted to talk about it. For any of you who have triggers, we're going to be talking about all kinds of mental health stuff today, and this is just going to be one long, uncut voice note, essentially. Um, so that's what we're doing. If that's not your jam, that's fine. You can click off this video, listen to some soothing music, watch something funny. You don't have to watch this video, and you shouldn't feel bad about not watching this video. So I will see you another time, or you will hear me another time. I don't really know what's happening with this channel. So first and foremost, I wanted to talk a little bit about my therapy journey. I've been in therapy for over a year now, and I and my therapist had a very candid conversation about stopping therapy, potentially, in the next few months. And it was a really emotional conversation that I didn't think that I was going to have today, and I also didn't think that I was going to be emotional about it. I think there's a part of me that feels as though if I let go of therapy, I won't be able to cope, but I have put in place some really good routines for myself, and they've been working, and I've kind of come to the realization now that therapy is always something that I can come back to, but ultimately I don't want to do it for the rest of my life. So I do think that at some point I need a drop off point where I make these plans for myself and adjust them as time goes on and as things change in my life with myself and the things around me. Right now I have incredibly tangible goals. I have hope, honestly, which was always something that I was so afraid of. Hope was always this thing that loomed over me when I was younger and things were a lot more bleak. And I always regarded it as a bad thing, and I don't necessarily regard it as a good thing now. I still have this backseat voice in my brain that keeps me humble, as I like to tell my therapist and I like to tell myself. But when I talk about hope, I see it as a double-edged sword, and I see it in a positive light at the moment, and it's a little scary, but it's also really positive. I think that I've made a lot of strides in the right direction for my general well-being. I'm a lot less angry. I'm a lot more aware of my boundaries. I know the kinds of people that I want to hang out with, and I know the kinds of people that I don't want to hang out with, and it is all based on the way that they make me feel and the way that they make others feel. And cutting the worst people in my life out of my life has really, really helped solidify the kind of person that I want to be and the kind of people that I want to associate with. And it's had a huge impact on the way that my mind works and the way that my current mental health journey is going. But aside from that, I was talking to my therapist and I made her cry a second time because I was telling her that I do think that she has genuinely helped me go from a place where I didn't trust my own mind partially because some people in my life had made me really distrust myself. It's called gaslighting. You might have heard the term. It's very overused right now, but it is basically when someone tries to make you doubt your own reality. Yeah, it wasn't a good time. Anyways, there was a time where I really, really couldn't trust my own mind, and I couldn't make decisions. I couldn't make decisions because I didn't think that the way that my brain was making decisions was correct, and it was really messy. It was really, really messy. I didn't have any boundaries. I couldn't confidently cancel any plans. I couldn't tell anyone no. And it was really awful. It was really terrible. And as stupid as it sounds, like I've gotten to a place where I can confidently just be like, hey, can't do that. Hey, I've done what I've had to do and I can't do anything past this. And I never thought that I wasn't confident in that until I came to that realization today. Um, I've been doing really, really well. And for someone who's been posting literally all their trauma online since the day I started my YouTube channel, literally, um, I thought I owed my long-standing audience the update on the fact that I'm in a really, really good place mentally. And that's not to say that I won't have, backslides every now and then. I will still fall into like a little bit of, oh, my body sucks, or I'm in a depression mode, or I'm in a manic mode. Like, that's still gonna happen. That's just the way my brain is. That's the way the chemistry in my brain works. And I'm kind of at peace with that. I've acknowledged that. But I'm just a lot better now than I was a year ago, than I was ever. Like, this is the most updated version of me to date. Um, I'm much better at dealing and managing all of these things. Like, I know what I need when I'm in those places. I know what I need to say. I know who to say them to. I know what to do, what actions to undertake, what to watch, who to listen to. Like, I'm very aware of myself, and it's been really difficult. It's been really, really difficult, and I feel like it's paid off. It's really, really paid off. And the way that it's paid off, and the sort of fruit of this mental health tree that I've been tending in my brain, is creativity. One of the reasons why I've been staying off social media, I haven't been posting as many YouTube videos, is because I kind of felt like my creativity for the longest time, like since 2015 when I left my dad's house. And prior to that, I was super creative. I was writing chapters and chapters of stories that would never see a shelf, like never be published, every single day. Like, I would dedicate so many hours a day and sacrifice my sleep to be creative before 2015. After 2015, my creativity dropped to the level that I could only be creative when I was angry, frustrated, sorry, or sad. And I hated that. I hated that feeling that I could only be creative when I was in those states of mind. Like, I had no control over my creativity, and I was only being creative until I stopped feeling that feeling, you know? And now, for like the last few weeks, like, this includes any art that I did prior to like January of this year. Like, all of it was just me taking my frustration out on a page, on my computer, in my YouTube videos even. That's pretty obvious, I'm sure. Um but over the last couple of weeks, and I would say the last few months, if we're looking at my drawings, my creativity has kind of emerged out of quiet moments, and I haven't felt that peaceful kind of slow process planning and development of my creativity in a very, very long time. And I didn't really acknowledge it until like today. I had my therapy session today and we were talking about it. Um, and I am oddly satisfied with myself. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I might be talking absolute gibberish right now, but it is very profound, at least in within myself, that I am able to no longer use creativity as a mode of escapism, but as just pleasure. Like I'm I'm making things because they make me feel good, rather than I'm making things because they take the bad feelings away. And I don't know, I just, this isn't meant to be like some happy-go-lucky message of, oh, things get better, because I don't think that that's the right message. Because sometimes things just don't get better. Sometimes things become very bad and then you have to cope with them. Like you just have to live with them. Like, for example, my mom's dead. That's never going to get better. Like, that's never going to get better. She's always going to be dead. But I've learned to cope with that fact better. I can talk about my mom. I can reminisce about funny little arguments we would have. I can just remember her, you know? And like the other stuff, like for example, I will probably never hear my father tell me that he's proud of me. And that is something that has bothered me for the longest time. Like, it's bothered me for the longest time. Not because I want approval from the man who happens to be my father, but because the concept of my father telling me he's proud of me is just the thing that makes me cry. Like, anytime I watch a sitcom and that happens, I'm in tears. I'm on the floor crying like Trisha Paytas in every single one of her videos. Like, I'm just out of my mind upset that that will never be my life. That's never going to get better. And I know that's never going to get better. That feeling will haunt me until the day that I die. But I can talk about my dad. I can tell jokes about how he used to be. I can remember the good times, even if they were few and far between. Far between. I can compartmentalize him into memories that I can appreciate, and I can talk about him in the very serious fact that he is a terrible person. And I don't know, I think that's what I wanted to share. Like, life doesn't always get better. Sometimes life is just suffering with small intermissions of happiness. But honestly, truly, the struggle is what makes life interesting. And I think that I've led, even though I'm like 26 years old, like I'm a fucking idiot. I'm like the youngest sufferer on the planet. Like I admire people like Kintaro Miura who had a really hard life. I admire people like Thomas Hardy who wrote Tess of the D'Urbervilles, who had a really, really difficult life, especially as he grew older and older. Um, I admire people who have these stories, like these lifetimes where they had these struggles, and whether or not they overcame them, they still went forward and they did what they had to do. They put forward their art, or they wrote their stories, and they still did that, and they still gained acclaim whether or not they knew it. um and I admire that, and I think that that is ultimately what life is about. It's about struggling and finding your way to the end of your life and seeing how far you can go. And as like terrifying as that thought is, as much as that induces just an immediate existential crisis into me, I'm sorry, I did give a trigger warning at the beginning of this. It does do that to me sometimes. I'm excited. Like, I'm excited to see where the rest of my life goes. And I'm sure this is not the first time I will say this. This is probably like not even the this isn't even the first time I've said this. This is I will keep saying this a number of times, not to just reaffirm myself, but to also just remind people who watch me, because I know like people who watch me relate to me very strongly. Especially like a lot of my early following who stuck out to this day. Not so much the following that I gained in the middle, because a lot of those were like shout out followers who have left now, but followers who followed me from the very beginning, a lot of my friends who followed me in the beginning, and people that I met along the way who continue to watch my content. I know that they relate to my life in many different ways, and some of them relate incredibly closely to the way that my life has gone. And I have made it my business to put my business on the internet. And I do think that a message like this is one that I want to share. And I feel really, really happy with myself. I like, me and my therapist were just crying tears of joy today. Like, she's so happy that I've made this decision to slowly phase therapy out of my life, because it has kind of felt like she's just been holding my hand while I slowly recover for the last couple of months. And I've been feeling that way. And she only brought it up after I mentioned it. So it wasn't like instigated by her, it was something that I brought up. And I don't know, I'm just hopeful and happy. That might change. I don't know, depending on how life goes. But for now, that's how I feel, and I wanted to share that. I wanted to share that today. I'm incredibly sorry I'm not on screen. I am incredibly sorry that this is not edited in the slightest, except for the fact that there is a backdrop to my voice. And I am incredibly sorry if this wasn't what you were looking for when you clicked on this. But you did click on it, so that is on you. But I am looking to slowly rebrand this channel also, because a lot of my content, a lot of, I would say like 80 to 90% of it is born out of videos that I made where I woke up one day and just had to say something, instead of like slowly and carefully thinking things out and planning them. You know, like I just wanted the bad feelings to go away. And now I feel like I can plan things and just make things that I'm happy with, you know, like for pleasure. And I do have some things planned. So if you were here for the angry content, that probably will happen in future, but I'm gonna try and make it less frequent. I'm also thinking about changing my channel name, but I don't know what to change it to. I want to take the focus off religion. Like, I won't stop talking about religion, because religion played a part in my life for like 20 years in total, heavily for about like 10 years, but in general like 20 years. So it's not never going to be not a part of my channel, but I want to stop focusing so heavily on it, because I don't think it's a productive conversation anymore. I feel like I've said everything I need to say about my religion, what I've, you know, experienced, and the religion I used to follow, which was Islam. I'll still bring it up here and there. I still want to discuss like stories that exist in the Quran or in the Bible, because I find them interesting. But I don't think I would pursue that unless I was collabing with somebody like Rudy, X Called Baby, or, you know, someone else. So yeah, that's what I want to do. I don't really know what to name this channel. I want to take away the most gracious part of my channel name and replace it with something else. I have seriously considered changing my channel name, seriously considered, to Mozilla Firefay. I don't know if Mozilla Firefox would sue me for that, but you can leave your recommendations in the comments below, or tweet at me or something. Like, all of my socials are in the description below. But anyway, I'm really happy, and I'm really grateful that all of you put up with me and my nonsense every now and then. You know, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere. Like, I'm so grateful for my friends as well, but because they consistently, like almost every day, put up with my bullshit. And they're happy to, and that makes me feel good and validated, you know? instead of people who just constantly considered me a burden and constantly treated me like there was something wrong with me when I already knew that. But anyway, thank you for listening to this. If you did, thank you for, even if you didn't, just thank you for even considering me someone worthy of listening to at some point. If you liked this, like it. If you didn't, you can leave or dislike it. It doesn't really matter. Leave some good vibes in the comments. I'm not really here for the hate comments anymore. My description needs some desperate updating, but for now, the socials and everything are as up to date as they are. And remember to subscribe if you want to see the forthcoming content. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys soon. Goodbye.